legislate, understand the 7 principles of hell, you'll understand the 7 demons within you. You'll understand that whole concept. It's a whole metaphysical concept. We ain't go over that, but anyway.
Hey, what up, everybody? I hope all of y'all is having a blessed and humble day. Continue to have a blessed and humble afternoon. This y'all shorty Racheal. I want to welcome all of y'all to the Writers for Life. Brings you the Let's Talk About It podcast show. This is part 2. Protect the kids, not the predators. Raise the age of consent now. Right? Consent laws are a joke. Right? We did part 1 the other day. Right? And we broke down, right, the system. Right? Well, what consists of a system, right? We broke that down. We talked about the how can we find a way to make the age of consent 18 all across the board, right? We broke it all down, right? We talked about it. I want to give a big shout out to those that had a conversation with a shorty, brought solutions to the table, right? They wasn't on here trying to debate a shorty, right? They did have questions. We all have questions. Shit, man, to do part 2 of this live, I had to dive down rabbit holes, man. And as I was coming up, I almost drowned in one of them oceans. Shit, I'm sitting here like, oh, snap. So by me saying that is that all the loopholes, right? There are loopholes to everything, all right? Whether we want to see it or not. So on part 1, right, I asked questions, right? And the same thing I did with part 1, I'm doing on part 2, right? I've asked questions, I put them together, I went online, I researched, right? Most of those questions, right, along with the questions that, people that are around me have when we have these type of conversations, right? So I'm gonna ask 4 questions before I go into this, right? And I want, I want y'all to give me y'all honest opinion, y'all honest perspective on this, right? Especially as we go down what I'm about to talk about, my bad. If we raise the age of consent to 18, are we protecting teens or just delaying their agency, right? Do we trust teens to consent to sex? Why do we trust teens to consent to sex but not to say no to systematic abuse? Is the age of consent a shield or a smoke screen for deeper societal failures? Who gets to decide when someone is ready and why do they hold that power? All right. Now, on our last we was talking about, right, why is the age of consent still 16? And we talked about so many things, right? And we broke down the laws, right? We even checked out the map. Let me see if we can get back to that real quick. Hold on 1 second. Right? We even looked at the map of the areas where the age of consent, right, is 16, 17, and 18. And what's crazy is, right, I was telling people that if at one point the age of consent was, right, it went from 8 to 13 and from 13 to 16, then there it stood. Why? Why is it that in some places they've managed to make the age of consent 17 or 18, but I feel as though it should be 18 all across the board, all across the map. All right. Shout out to Stoic for giving us his input, man. I gotta apologize to Stoic too, man, because I didn't even realize that he gave me a $10 super chat, man. And I appreciate him for that, man. Like, listen, I know I'm late. I appreciate you, Stoic, yo. My bad. So, we're gonna go back. Let me get the thumbnail for it. The thumbnail. Let me see something. No, let me see. Oh, why is it not popping back up? I need to get that map. This is telling me about the governorless societies. That's not the one we was talking on. Nope, stateless societies. That's not it. All right, man. I'm gonna have to go back to part one on that one, man. But let's continue on to part two. All right. So on the last live, we broke down the cities, the states that have, the age of consent at 16. And there's a lot of states that still have the age of consent still at 16. All right. So with that being said, right, let's talk about systematic contradictions, the law's double standard. And for y'all to understand what I am talking about today, y'all would have to go to part one of this live to understand why I'm asking these questions. You see where I'm coming from? These are not just my questions, right? And these questions, right, even though we're here talking to each other, trying to ask each other questions, right, and answering each other's questions, right, these are questions that me, as a leader of my community, I feel as though we should be asking the legislators, that, the members at council, right, the mayor, the governors, all of them. Why is it that, that the law still has it that a child at 16 can consent to sex, right? But yet still needs a parent's signature when it comes to school, doctors, right? And much more. Like, let's be real, right? So let's talk about that, right? Why can a 16-year-old be criminalized for sexting, but not protected from predatory adults, right? What's crazy is that sometimes, even though sometimes these 16-year-olds be sexting each other, the crazy part about it is, right, they end up sexting with people older than the age of 21, older than the age of 18, right? People forget to, let's not talk about the games, right? Let's talk about Fortnite. Let's talk about Roblox, right? On how easy it is for these predators, right, to come in touch with our kids. So what's crazy is, right, I've heard both sides of parent stories, right? And, if you really look at it without even listening to people talk, right, you would think that a lot of these parents, right, just let their kids be on there just to be on there, right? Some of them is just, working, right? They they give their kids, how can I say, they reward their kids with the game and stuff like that. Other parents just let their kids do whatever the hell they want to do and they don't pay attention, right? So what's crazy is, right, that if a child is sexting another person, they'll get criminalized for that. And it's crazy, right? Because these kids are watching older adults do this with them, and they probably think that it's okay, right? And I'm not speaking on every child, I'm just speaking on some, right? Some of these kids might think that it's okay. All right, I'm 16 years old. If somebody that's in their 20s or in their 30s is, sexting me on a game chat or a social media chat or on my phone, it's probably okay for me to chat to, somebody who's a couple years younger than me. See where I'm coming from? And I've heard these kids talk like this, right? So the crazy part is the law often punishes teens for exploring sexuality, right, while failing to shield them from exploitation. Who is the law really serving? All right, we broke this down on part one. So if y'all missed part one, y'all gotta go check out part one, right? On part one, y'all will see the map of the cities, right, of the kids that, of the teens that have the age of consent from 16, right? Then you see the ones from 17, then you see the ones that are 18. All right, we broke everything down, the loopholes, right? And before that, a shorty made a live, right, that talks about the system. What does the system consist of, right? And we broke that down, right? So all these lives that I am making right now, trust me, go hand in hand. And I'm not just making these lives to make them, all right? I'm not just sitting here asking questions to ask questions. Once again, I want to remind everybody, I said that the questions that I'm asking here, the questions that we're asking each other and answering, right, should be the questions that we sit here and throw at the legislators, at Congress, at the people at the council table. All right. Because in reality, who are they really serving? Blessings, blessings. We got the beautiful Selena in the building, guys. Make sure y'all go check out Selena. She doesn't just have great content, all right? She does some of the greatest interviews here on YouTube, all right? If y'all want to check out one of the interviews that Selena did with a shorty, because, you know, shorty did lay down on Selena's couch and talked about her past and how she overcame it. Man, make sure y'all go check out my second page, Writers for Life. Brings it all right, little by little. That's where I'm going to be posting my premieres. Any video longer than an hour is going to go there. So little by little, that's where all my premieres are going to go. So if y'all want to go check out Selena's interview with y'all shorty Racheal, go check out my second page. All right. But listen, man, she be doing some great ass interviews, and you will not be disappointed on the content that Selena brings to you, because out of these interviews and what she brings to you, right, you come learn. I mean, how can I say it? You gain something out of her channel. All right. You gain something. You learn something. All right. So big shout out to Selena. Right. And make sure y'all listen, share her videos, like her videos. Let's show Selena some support. All right, guys. Now let's get back on topic. Right. Is the age of consent a tool for justice or a weapon of control? Right? Because in some cases it's used to prosecute abusers, and others is weaponized against consensual relationships between teens. Where's the consistency? Right? How is it that a child can get in trouble for sexting somebody their own age, right? And around their age, but yet somebody over the age of 18 is sexting this child, grooming this child, but the law protects them because this child is 16. You know how many times I come online and I hear men saying, well, it's okay. It was okay for me to have sex with her. The law in the city and the state that I am says that a teen is 16, and I still say child because we're still kids at that age, even though we think we're grown, right? All of this is going to go hand in hand, all right? I'm just, how can I say it? Pouring all my thoughts into a mic, right? And giving it to y'all, right? For real. That's all it is. I'm giving this maybe sometimes some poetic justice. Sometimes I'm just spitting the facts on how it is. Whether we like it or not, there's loopholes to everything. The system was man-made, right? 4 people, like throughout generations, had these ideas, and boom, we have the system that we have today that we're living under. What's crazy, if y'all go look up, right, why this system was made, right? You'll be like, oh shit, we shouldn't be doing the things that we're doing. Duh. But because of the people running the system, we have so many motherfucking loopholes. All right. And I know I shouldn't be cussing, but maybe that's the only way some people understand. So, hey, once again, what's the system? I mean, we know the answer to this, right? We do. That's why I say that these questions in reality, even though I'm asking them here, right? It's because I'm bringing awareness to that. I know I can't change the world. I know that I can't make a difference today. But at the end of the day, little by little, the more and more I bring awareness to what I am talking about, little by little, those that are following me know what the next step is when I'm not here. So listen, like I said yesterday, like I said on my first live, when we first started talking about, right, should the age of consent still be 16? It's supposed to be we the people, but we're under a system that's ran by electoral votes. I thought it was we the people, not the same people running the the people that we pick to become mayor, president, congressperson, spokesperson, councilwoman, councilman, right? Those people ain't supposed to be, listen, they're supposed to talk to each other past these laws, but it's we the people. We go to them, the man. Okay, we put y'all in charge. Now y'all got to find a way, because y'all said that y'all could do this, to make this happen. But it seems like it's the other way around. Right? So I could sit here and make excuses. I could sit here and talk a whole bunch of bullshit, right? But at the end of the day, I want to bring solutions to the table. I want to have conversations that really matter. All right? Because it's the system versus us.
They don't talk about us, only when there's a crime. Would you believe me if I was to tell you that in this world, with or without money, we're all rich, even the poor? The problem is those that think that I'm reaching out to give a hand and stay they leeching hands is itching, ready to see you missing. Well, I think I went to write. Something inside me told me I can freestyle or I can rap. I can go with a rhythm that can make you dance. Tell you what I say on a daily, tell you everything's okay just to avoid dilemma. Or I can simply bring you something positive to the table and warn you of the ongoing problems that we're having. Instead, I have to reach out to my conscience once again as I watch the crime and the violence rise and the kids lose their innocence. Now the concept of forming a home day by day loses its essence. They don't want to hear that. I can't keep my arms crossed in front of the system. If I don't do something, I'm also part of the problem. As guilty as the one that pulls the trigger, like the person in the crowd that hits the record button on their phone to expose a lie instead of the truth for clout.
1,000 views.
The government doesn't have a solution. The problem started when we took God out the equation. The problem ain't us celebrating. The problem is that we a nation divided when we should be a nation united and praying. That's how we live today. When problems occur, we come up with a meaning. Laugh a little, move on with no care in the world, as if it ain't even a thing in this world. If it's like this today, I don't want to see the future. Because nowadays, they'll make a meme out of a person that can't even see the day of light no more.
What makes you think they care? They can't even break bread at the table.
I don't know how you want to be rappers and lyricists can go on with life, living on an illusion of nothing good to write. Talking about killing someone, selling drugs with pride, until the scripts are flipped and it's someone you love dies.
Right?
This ain't solved by activating the National Guards and going behind bars. This is deep, this is me and you. And they say as time pass by, we'll heal everything. Shit,
You know these cars?
I seen time flash by and everything. Leaving me on standby, ready to kill everything. Alone in the mirror looking at myself, say, girl, you're everything.
You don't need for anything, shorty.
So unless you walk a mile in my shoes, don't say anything. Just take a minute and listen so you can consume everything. Me and you are not the same, so make sure you look both ways when you cross me, and that's on everything.
And that's some real shit, yo. Like, we gotta ask these questions, right? With so much going on, right? We like, especially on this channel, we've watched what's going on with the teachers in the schools, right? Shout out to the real teachers out there, right? That care about our kids, right? That, you know, by any means help our kids, you know, reach the goal that they gotta reach, right? But we got some teachers out here that are some true predators, right? We talk about the predators within our communities. We've reviewed and reacted to videos, right, of these predators out here lurking, not just on Philadelphia, but in different cities and states, right, and much more, right? We've seen how the majority of these predators get to our kids, right, through social media or gaming platforms, right? With us knowing all this, what are we going to do as we the people to try to change these laws? Right, to fix these loopholes? Because in reality, it seems like they're benefiting, right, the higher ups than what they're benefiting us. See, I keep hearing the people say the system is broken. The system is, look, the system is doing exactly what the system is supposed to do. The problem is the people running the system are corrupt. So it makes the system look broken. So if it's a system that was man-made, what makes us think that we can't fix it? All right, I understand the excuses that people are putting out here, man. The problem that we have right now is that we so scared to face those that are higher up. I understand they got more money, right? They got resources that could back them up. I'm not saying let's start a war. I'm saying let's start making the changes little by little, the best way that we can, right? Because people are making excuses. You know how many times I heard people say, Ray, in the beginning of my journey, those that have been following me know that it's true. People telling me it's not possible to put cameras in schools. People told me for the past 5-6 years, oh, Ray, that's not going to happen because you're, you know, the privacy of the kids. What privacy? What fucking privacy do these kids have when you got grown-ups out here grooming them that are supposed to be protecting them and teaching them? Why should we give these teachers out here, and I'm talking about the fucked up ones, all right? I'm not talking about every teacher out here. I'm talking about it in general. All right. Why should we give them so much privacy when they haven't shown us that we could trust them? Why are we putting our trust in these teachers' hands that show us constantly that they don't care. All right. We know that the system is, how can I say, there's teachers that are underpaid, right? But I've seen so many teachers, even with them being underpaid, go out their way to sit here and help students, do what they got to do, teach them. They don't sit here and become a part of the problem. They don't sit here and make excuses. I've seen teachers lose their jobs protecting these kids, fight unions and much more, just so that these kids can get a better chance in life and not be behind a fucking mental institution or behind bars. Not every kid deserves it, but the teachers that I've seen fight have fought for kids that do deserve it. So I'm just tired of the excuses. Once again, I'm hoping I'm not in mute. No, I'm not on mute for some reason. So, it's so many ways we can go about this, right? Why should a child at the age of 16, right? We know they're going to do it behind, our backs. We already know that a 16-year-old or 15-year-old might have sex, right? We know that a 17 and a 16-year-old might have sex. We know all that. Kids are going to do things behind our backs. We were kids at one point. That's not my motherfucking question. We already know all that shit. Why is it still legal, right, for a 16-year-old to give out consent? What if this child was being groomed? So it's okay. Listen, I understand that, there's a concept where, a lot of these kids mature fast. Yeah, that's true. But they don't mature in every aspect. All right. Some of us have grown up, right? And I'm not speaking about everybody. All right. Some people have grown up. Let me put it like this. Some people have grown up, right? And they still have not mentally, all right? How can I say emotionally or sexually have matured. Let's not talk about spiritually. So if adults at a certain age are still trying to get certain things together, they may have matured in one area, but still lack in 4 other parts. They're not fully mature. None of us can really say, when are we going to fully mature? They say that at the age of 25 is when our brain fully develops. But yet at 16, you see some kids, right, make decisions better than what a 20-year-old does. But does that mean that a 16-year-old can handle the pressure that an adult can? In certain cases, yes, but not in all cases. In senses like that, and I'm gonna put it like this, since it's like a 80-20% chance, why even risk letting a 16-year-old still have, because they could work? I mean, I've listened to both sides. Because they could work. Oh, because she's working and she's, getting a check. He's working, he's getting a check. That means they're ready. But yet when they go to school, they can't even make a signature. They don't know how to fucking read. But yet it's okay for them to consent to sex. When they got to go to the doctors, they still need the parent's signature. When a medical decision has to be made, the mother, the father, whoever's in charge has to still make it. But yet at 16, they can consent to sex. I see why they've been fucking around for the longest with it. Because I can't even believe that at one point at 8. And they're trying to, I don't know if y'all remember, right? I asked the question. I said, why is this a trending topic, right? Should they lower the age of consent to 8? I was over here like, wait, consent to what? Why would they want to lower it back to even 8? And this is a recent trending topic. So yes, all of this is leading to this. Like I said, I want to bring awareness during this live. The link is down below for anybody that wishes to come up, give, an opinion or perspective. Y'all more than welcome. All right. I'm not going to be here long. Listen, I wrote this down and I'm going to get this out my chest. All right. I got all these questions gathered up between people, that I've talked, to, and then questions that I've seen online. So I've sat here. I was like, boom. Okay. Which one's match? Which one can we talk about the most? Which one is more important? You see where I'm coming from? Because as crazy as it sounds, yes. Which question should I prioritize more? As fucked up as it sounds, here's one thing that I keep hearing, right? And I'm gonna ask this question like this, right? Because they say, And you know, in the urban community, right, especially the community that I was raised in, right, we're all mixed in. So I've seen black, brown, white, orange, pink. All right, listen, I've seen little white kids, little black kids, little Puerto Rican kids, little Chinese kids, little Mexican kids, right? I've seen all types of ethnicities get tortured, molested, abused, right? Whether it's from a family, right? Let me put it like this, all right? Because abuse can go in so many ways. I've seen them get physically abused, sexually abused, mentally abused, all right? So it's just like, it throws me off all the time when people bring race into this. But I got to ask the question, right? Because I want to hear people's opinions. I want to hear more of your opinions. Let me put it like that, right? Do racial and class bias shape how age of consent laws are enforced? Because maybe y'all might know something or might see something that I don't, right? Are black and brown teens more likely to be criminalized under these laws than white teens? How does social economic status factor in this situation? All right. So I would like to, you know, for anybody that catches the replay or anybody that's, you know, watching down below, like, listen, let a shorty know. Y'all can leave your comments down below, you know, while you're watching the replay, or you can have a conversation with a shorty right here in the chat. All right. So let's hit the, you know, the maturity, the myth. Are we measuring the wrong things? All right. Why do we trust teens with sex but not with self-determination? If a 16-year-old can legally consent to sex but not choose where to live, work full-time, or make medical decisions, what does that say about our priorities? And I think I just kind of like broke that down to y'all. All right. At 16, a teen still needs their parents for a lot of legal things. So why is it okay to go over the parent's head when a parent says, no, this is statutory rape? What if this child of hers or his, right? Because we do got single mothers, we do got single fathers, right? And then we got parents that co-parent, right? Then we got parents that live together that are raising kids. All right. What if this parent didn't consent of this child being, you know, with this person as at the age of 21? I'm going to take it back to my time, right? When I was growing up here in Philadelphia, right, in Pennsylvania, it was considered statutory rape for a 16-year-old to be with a 21-year-old if a parent or somebody that was in charge of the child made a complaint, right? And I know it from experience, all right? Because my baby pops I almost got him in a jam. I had to keep his age secret until I got emancipated, all right? And emancipation is not something easy to do for anybody that's got the idea, oh, well, can I get emancipated at 16? Yes, but it's not something easy to do. And you still need your parent to give, a yes, right? And you have to prove to a judge, social workers, that you can live on your own and do this and do that, blah, 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 blah. It's a lot. It's a lot. All right. So why is it that in certain situations, right, when the parent wants to press charges towards someone that has committed this type, right, of indecency, I can't say the word. I hate when I get stuck like this, yo. This type of fucking crime, all right, I'm gonna put it like that, and the perpetrator goes free. I'm just trying to figure that one out. Why is it that now you look online, right, and I showed it to y'all on the first live, right, and as you know, I'm trying to figure out when to change it now, as in forever, right? Now, as in forever, the age of consent in Pennsylvania is 16. But when I was growing up, it wasn't like that. Then I tried to see when they changed it, right? And they said that Pennsylvania's age of consent has always been like that. I said, that's bullshit. That's a lot of bullshit. And I don't know if this has to do with, whatever's going on with the politics, the celebrities, right? What is it? Diddy, the Epstein list and all that. Boom, out of nowhere. Now, when you go searching for, the age of consent in, in certain places that was a certain way at a certain point in time, it says it's like this, when in reality it wasn't, which gets you like, what the fuck is y'all putting a Mandela effect on me, man? I mean, I talked about this on that live. So, I mean, I would like to hear y'all, y'all opinions, y'all input. I would like to get y'all input on this, all right? Leave y'all comments down below and let's get the discussion started, all right? I don't want to debate this. I want to bring solutions to the table because there is a way to make the age of consent 18 all around the board, all right? Is emotional intelligence more important than chronological age, right? Some 16-year-olds are more self-aware than 20-year-olds, they say. Should we be measuring readiness by maturity markers instead of arbitrary numbers, right? And what I mean by that is, right, just because I'm 16, I could be good at cooking, I could be good at cleaning. I could have a job and maintain it, right? But does that mean that I can maintain my emotions, right, when it comes to raising a child? All right, can I keep all of them intact? And some parents at the age of 16, right? And this is why we're seeing a lot of, females, right, in the news and stuff like that. They got pregnant at a certain age, right, before they even hit 18 or 21, right? And we've seen a lot of these cases, right? We see cases with women in their 20s and in their 30s, right, that sit here, not just because they've had mental health issues, right? We've seen some regular women sit here and get pregnant and do the craziest thing to their kids to unalive them, all right? So is emotional intelligence more important than chronological age? And I feel as though, right, unless you over the age of 18, you shouldn't get pregnant. Listen, I was 16 and I went through hell. And I was a single mom, right? Their dad was in and out of fucking jail. Then he started drugs. I mean, it's a lot. So instead of raising 2 kids, I ended up at one point raising 3. And the dad, the baby daddy was one of them. All right. So we really got to really sit here and start analyzing these things. All right. The people that are in office right now, in reality, right? Because I don't see nobody. I'm not the only person that says it, right? Go vote when it's time to go vote for the mayor, the governor, right? It's time to put in these judges and these DAs into office. Nobody goes to vote. But when it's time to put the president, oh, hell breaks loose. Are we ignoring the role of trauma and lived experiences? Teens who faced hardship may appear mature, but is that resilience or survival mode? And should that be mistaken for readiness? All right. And like I said, I'm going to keep using me. All right. Me at 16, I was in survival mode. That wasn't readiness. All right. I was in survival mode, and being in survival mode led me to make mistake after mistake until boom, I had to sit my ass down and actually listen to the ones that were there trying to help me, which is my support system now, as crazy as it sounds, right? Now, the people that sounded dumb at one point seem smarter and smarter as the days go by, especially the ones that are not here with me today. May they have peace and paradise. So we're going to go for power versus power versus autonomy, right? Who really has control? Are we protecting teens or controlling them? Raising the age of consent is often framed as protection, right? But is it also a way for institutions to maintain control over young people's bodies and choices, right? Reason why I say that, peep how everything around us is happening, right? From my body to my choice. Look what's happening with the young teens getting pregnant, right? The ones that are not ready want to have, and what's crazy? I've had conversations with a lot of teen girls, right, that have had the situations, right? Me, I didn't believe in abortion, right? And I've had a lot of young girls that come like, damn, I got knocked up. I didn't mean to. I'm not going to be with him. What do you think I could do? From a mother, a mother that's had kids to a mother that's just becoming a mother, right? And it's hard to have these conversations with them, right? Especially when they come to you and say, they don't want to talk to a doctor because the doctor, right away starts talking about, how can I say it, giving a baby up for adoption and this and that. Then you start hearing the abortion options. I was like, I know they put you through, loopholes. The question is, right, are we really making these decisions, right, again, because they're coming deep down from within us, or is it because we're used to seeing people around us have that behavior and we're imitating us. And I'm hoping that I'm asking the right questions, right? Because I know a coach can answer this question fast as shit, right? Are we mimicking what we're seeing around us? And that's why, more and more kids are, sitting here and having sex, having babies. We know they're going to do it. But are we, as the adults, making it easier? Those, especially the ones that have realized, okay, I had sex at 16, got knocked up, know the consequences, right? Know what it is to, have a friend that's being groomed, or know what it is to be groomed personally. So now that I'm older, what can I do, right, to help the ones that are going through probably the same situation that I'm going through, right, or worse, but want help? Because there's a lot of people that don't want it, and unfortunately, right, you cannot help everybody. You cannot. And what's crazy is, right, when you go and you take this to, when you take situations like this, right, when a minor is 16, right, the battles are not easy fought in court, right? When a 16-year-old, what's crazy is not easy for a 16-year-old to fight, oh, this person did this to me, this person did that to me, when there are kids that are 16, right, and they'll say they lie about their age. They're like, I'm 16, but I'm really like 18, 20, 21, right? And then you got somebody that's over the age of 18 or 21, right? And they fall for it and they come and they have sex with the teen, right? We can go about this in so many ways. Then this teen comes and screams rape, right? So now the state is taking that as, oh, this person committed statutory rape, boom, 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 and this person is locked up. So there's so many ways that this goes. That's why I'm saying, like, who is we really protecting when we sitting here, right, saying that the age of 16 is okay in certain cities and states, right, for, to consent to sex, when I don't think it is. 16-year-olds are not fully mature. We make mistake after mistake when we're at that age. I think that's the prime time to make fucking mistakes, when you're around them ages. I think, listen, until you hit a certain age, you mature a little bit, but you don't really fully mature. But then you're still maturing as, time goes by. It's hard to really tell when somebody is fully mature, but at 16, it sure as hell is. It's not. Because if not, listen, a 16-year-old wouldn't need a parent's signature for almost everything. And I'm gonna say that at 16, a 16-year-old needs a parent's signature for like 96% of everything. This is why we're failing our kids. Like, it is so hard to sit here and protect a child that's been groomed, abused, and molested, right? Because there's been another child that's around the same age pretending to be somebody else. Now they're taking that case into this, it's so many ways that I can go about this, right? And y'all know the stories. I know y'all seen stories. I know y'all, have some loved ones that probably went through some shit like this, right? So those are factors they lay in onto, why change the law. Listen, at 18, if anybody has, if the age of consent is put at 18 at least, anybody that has sex with a minor at 16 can't say, well, they let me. My state or my city, it says it's 16. No. Let a 16-year-old and a 16-year-old have sex with each other they want to. That shouldn't be a part of the factor of why we can't change these laws. And I don't even know who even thinks like that. Like, let's be real about it. We could break this down in so many ways on, the yin and yang on this shit. Like, okay, this is not right. This is not right. This is wrong. This is wrong. This is right. This is right. But at the end of the day, if we're really protecting these teenagers, the age of consent should not be at 16. I should not be hearing men or women saying, well, in my city, my state, this is the age of consent. I'm allowed to do this. I'm allowed to do that. That makes me look at you like, was you grooming this child? Like, listen, I know how we grew up and how things was, but when the fuck are we going to break the chains of society and be who we're truly meant to be? Can a system that fails to protect teens from abuse truly legislate consent? If schools and families and legal systems, right, routinely overlook grooming and coercing, right, does changing the age of consent actually fix anything, or just shift blame like we're actually doing right now? Because that's what people do. They coerce these things, right? We see it. We see the grooming happening, but we're covering it up. We're making excuses of why it's okay. if you went through something like this and you know, listen, at 16, I was a little hottie, I was a little thotty, but look at the consequences of it, where I'm still at. Shout out to the ones that have been able to have, you know, kids at 16, keep a job, still go to school, right? And, you know, keep their kids happy and not have their kids in these streets, in these corners, not have their kids being like Tatiana in the fucking streets. There's so many ways I can go about this. Once again, I'm just trying to be as nice as I can. So instead of talking about it, we should be about it, because we're asking for change, but making excuses on why we cannot make the change. Like, this shit is crazy. Is consent meaningful in a world where economic dependence and social pressure distort choice? A 16-year-old might say yes, but are they saying it freely or because they feel they have no other option? And I'm going to leave that one up to y'all. And with that being said, guys, this was part 2, right, of protect the kids, not the predators. Raise the age of consent now. Consent laws are a joke. What can we do as we the people to change these laws?
You got motherfuckers talking about that they want to make a change, they want to make a difference, but still stuck in the same phase. You got motherfuckers talking about that they want to chase a bag, but stay at home and nag. Then when you ask them what they need, they say less talking, more opinions, no prayers with division. You ask me, y'all need to focus more on revision, rely less on television. How you want a future you have no vision? This world is just like fiction. What we need is more talking, less opinions, more prayers with no division. Before you come up with a conclusion, giving people false illusions, pick up a book, do your research, learn your history before you end up in a ditch making history. Division and religion isn't working. The only way to show God our faith and love is through our actions. Our convictions is the only thing that really unite us. One God, one nation, different beliefs. There's words that can't fly with the wind. There's insults that are not violent. Meanwhile, while you're home to them, they're killing you on the inside. If I was to tell you that I didn't hurt, I would be lying. Would you believe me if I was to tell you that there's truths that lie, especially when they're telling you that they're indifferent? Getting shoved to the side because you're different. There's a hug out there someone didn't receive today. Probably because of what was said about them yesterday. Probably because of the way they was dressed today. Not realizing that the one that they hate could be the one that saves their day. But you know what? Thanks to them, it's another day in history where you get to flip the pages to your book and speak your story. And Lord, it's unholy. But you know what hurts the most? As I walk down the street and I see how easily we're divided. When we all should be united. One body, one mind, one soul, a million talents. Lord, without you, we're all divided. Forgive them, Lord, for they don't know any better. They don't know that there's someone out there that loves them.
And that's some real shit, man. As a mother, right? As a parent, as a friend, as a daughter, right? As a sister, I say that these, you know, the age of consent should be changed. More of us need to come together and do it. All right. I did leave the link down below for anybody that wanted to come and give, their opinion. That's up to y'all. But, back on topic, listen, because I'm about to end this joint too. But back on topic, right? I feel as though that social media, right, has the biggest influence on people. A lot of people go to social media for so many different things, right? And what's crazy is I do notice that a lot of people with the toxicity that they have sit here and promote this shit. They defend this shit with an honor somehow, right? So me personally, I'm going to keep bringing awareness to this, right? Especially when I know that social media is the devil's playground. So I think it's time for the devil to meet the angel on some real shit. It's time to make a change, because what we don't realize is, right, the stuff, these influencers, right, these celebrities, these people that sit here, right, and promote this shit, right, get protected by motherfuckers that come online, right, and say it's okay to do these things, right? Like, I've had an encounter with a few people that I'm sitting here like, nah, man, I'm not with that shit. You're going to be protecting motherfuckers online like this? I'm good. And I left them right where they at. But, with that being said, right, like I told y'all, I just wanted to bring awareness to this, right, this situation. I'm going to do a part 3. I'm not sure when I'm going to do part 3 in, because I'm going to do a little more research. But I'll let y'all know when I do part 3. But like I said, social media is one of the biggest platforms where we see people protect pedophiles and more.
Prayers out for our real men doing what they gotta do. While on this app, we have men of age acting worse than our kids do. Demanding respect by acting a fool. Saying they're the alphas running the pack, but in reality they're on their knees. Couldn't run the trap, now they're just a tease. So here's a shout out to the real men out there who handle their business without care. While the fake alphas talk a big game, but in the end, they're all just the same. So keep doing you, real men of the world, and let the fake ones continue to twirl in their own little fantasy land, while the real men rise and take a stand. Prayers out for our real men, may they always shine bright and leave the fake alphas in their own little plight. There once was an ex-cop so old who laid icy tears so cold. He loved the little old lady in the garden. Together they played victim begging pardon. Mad at a celebrity who didn't care. They protected predators, it wasn't fair. He agreed and took sides with a man in his 40s who admitted to doing inappropriate deeds with a minor. Oh please, oh how do we respect such a man who hurts our angels? It's not the plan. Lost and confused, he needs a hand to find his cucumber, oh so grand. Mamie Gartner will teach him so well to be a man and stop the spell. Speaking on woman who didn't bother him, let's help him find his way with a grin. Give him something to tell. In the real world, street justice will be swift for predators to prey on the innocent gift. But on this app, it's a different tale, where predators hide behind the digital veil. Men and women admit to their inappropriate deeds. With minors, they praise and protect their misdeeds. While warriors fight to protect our angels online, predators lurk waiting for their next vile crime. To all the warriors, keep standing tall, protecting our kids, never letting them fall. Let's watch over our children with care and show the predators we won't let them dare. Just try us. So keep fighting for our kids' rights and keep them safe from the online frights. Let's show these predators they have no respect and keep our children safe from their neglect. Older folks with no dignity demanding respect with no humility, thinking they're the bee's knees, but really they're just a bunch of sillies. Bishops preaching from the Bible, but acting like they're in denial. Talking to young men like they're in jail, ignoring coffins in their tail. Grown men gossiping about the dead, forgetting every action has a thread. Demanding respect without honor, thinking they're untouchable online, what a goner. But little do they know, their antics will show. No matter where they hide, their true colors will be spilled. The older men I admire carry themselves with grace. They know who they are and where they're going in this race. They won't bash women, they know when to walk away and when to stand and fight. They show us a better way. Not every battle is meant to be won. They've earned respect with honor, while on this app some older men seek attention, causing drama, arguing with women, bouncing on rainbows it seems. How can we respect that and keep our dreams? Let's learn from the wise and carry ourselves with pride, respecting others, showing love and letting our true selves shine bright. I don't know why men come online and be messy, but women do it too, so let's not get testy. These older folks run plays trying to deceive, but when we catch on, they play the victim. Can you believe? How can we respect those who bully and bash? They turn around and act like they're the ones with the stash. Demanding respect because of their age, forgetting respect has no numbers, it's not a cage. So where do we go from here? I'm at a loss, standing up and fighting back no matter the cost. We won't be pushed around, we won't be swayed. Respect is earned, don't demand it, that's how we'll stay. So let's not be fooled by the games and their lies. We'll stand tall and strong with truth on our side. No more playing the victim, no more meek. We'll rise above with dignity and speak. For in this online world where things can get messy, we'll hold our heads high and always stay classy. Respect is a two-way street, it goes both ways. Oh, these older folks online, I just can't seem to find any respect for them in my mind. They act like freaks, creeps, and predators all the time. I'll stick to my real elders who carry themselves with grace, not those who make me shudder with their online disgrace. I'll look up to those who deserve it, not those who act like fools. I'll keep my distance from the perverts and stick to the golden rules. So to the older men and women online, I'll just say no thanks. I'll keep my respect for those who shine and leave the rest to their pranks. For my real elders, I'll always hold dear, and to the others, I'll just stay clear. I'll keep my distance, have no fear, and let them carry on with their freak show. So here's to respecting our true elders and leaving the rest in the past. I'll keep my distance from the online swindlers and keep my respect for those I trust. I cannot believe, never in my life did I think that I would lose respect for so many elders like on this app.